Okay, so welcome to Tuesday at 10. And first thing on the agenda that I would like to talk about is the update from NAR. And so you may or may not have heard that NAR has made a change. First of all, the clear cooperation policy was kind of up in the air whether or not uh, NAR was going to keep clear cooperation policy. They did vote to keep clear cooperation. However, they did make a little change to it in that they've also have what they call seller's options for their property. So what a seller can do now, before all this took place within MyBor, you had office exclusive listings, right? And those could not be advertised other than within your brokerage. And you had to get a form signed, office exclusive form signed to do those. Those were not sent out on any feeds, so they didn't appear on like Zillow and etc. You then also had a pre-market status. Now, a property in pre-market is available on the BLC to everybody. It is not sent out in any automated emails. It is not sent out to the portals. So, for instance, it would not appear on Zillow as an active listing, but it can be found in the MLS or the BLC by searching for pre-market properties that meet the property description. So basically what that means is we already had a pre-market status within the BLC where an agent could list a property as pre-market, no days accrue for the property, but they can market it, they can have open houses, they can do all kinds of things with it. It does show up on the BLC, but does not go out into automatic feeds, so your clients may not know about them, and no documentation is required for pre-market. Well, NAR came up with what they call a delayed listing. And a delayed listing is very similar to a pre-market listing. So MyBor will not have to make a lot of big changes because they already have pre-market listings. The difference between a delayed listing and a pre-market listing is that delayed listings by NAR require a disclosure to the seller that you are listing their property and that it's not going to go out and be shown on any of the websites and IDX feeds and et cetera, so that they recognize that this isn't going to go out everywhere. So you have to have that disclosure sign. So in the future, there won't be pre-market listings, there'll be delayed listings, and you will need to have a form signed for that. But right now, you don't have to have a form signed for that, so you really don't have to disclose to your sellers that you're not advertising on the market as a whole. Now, so any questions about that change? Okay, that's interesting, but maybe you guys have already read a lot about it and heard a lot about it. I can tell you that all the real estate coaches, all of the industry is kind of in an uproar right now over these delayed listings and how they're going to be handled and what they're going to do with them. And what does it mean to us? And so
I guess, Jim, I do have, I guess it's a question or comment, but so without requiring a disclosure or a form to be signed by the seller, I mean, you would still have the discussion with your seller that you're doing that. And really, I don't think the seller is going to like that. I think they're going to want it to be published everywhere and anywhere to get the highest visibility to their
Well,
listing.
I think so too. And I've always said that there is no benefit to the seller for delayed listings. It just means you're advertising to a smaller group of people. Um, However, listening to some of the talking heads in the industry, one of them that I heard thinks this is the greatest thing, and that we should delay every listing for at least 7 days. And here's his mindset on why to do
I know you're talking about Greg Luther.
that. Yes.
I heard the same spiel. The anti-Zillow
Yeah,
rhetoric.
so his whole thing is this keeps it off Zillow, um, and then that means that Zillow does not have the most update listings that are available, and he thinks his logic behind how this benefits the seller, because it didn't benefit the seller to keep it off Zillow. But his logic is, okay, it goes out on Zillow and it's assigned as a lead to a random realtor that's paying for leads. This person knows nothing about the property. They know none of the features and benefits of the property, but they're given a lead now of somebody interested in that property. Who is better able to answer questions about that property? That person that got a paid lead or the listing agent?
Listing agent.
The listing agent. And so that's his justification to his seller is, hey, give me a week to answer those immediate inquiries because I know your property, I know the features and benefits, and I am the best one who is able to sell that property versus someone that on Zillow who may not even call the person back, let alone know about your property and et cetera. So food for thought. That's from Greg Luther. He's the only one talking that right now. I've listened to others, so it'll be interesting to see their take on it. But what does it mean for us? Here's what I think it means for us. And really, the more I think about it, this is already something that we've probably needed to think about as soon as pre-market listings came out. So I just looked, and there are 20 properties in Hamilton County that are pre-market listings, and most of these have been on the market since early March. Okay. Now, none of these properties would have been sent out to anyone with an automated email. Your clients who have automated emails from you would see these properties.
But that's only for 1 week?
No, this is unlimited right now.
Oh.
Okay. Pre-market properties have no limit.
Why will a realtor, why would you do that if you want to sell the property? What would be
Well,
one of the reasons?
well, stop and think about it. Why would you do that?
Because I mean, if I would have done, I would do it if I have if I know a lot of people to sell it to someone like this, to a realtor that I know, someone close
Yeah.
by or something. But I mean, if you don't know many people, you'd rather put it out everywhere.
Well, the reason that people do this is they want to try to get a me and me.
Ah.
They want to be a limited agent and they want to get both sides of the transaction. And so they want to get the leads that come in for this and hopefully sell that property and get both of the transaction. If they don't get a limited agency transaction, at least they'll get a buyer lead. So why do people want listings? Because buyer leads come with listings. So if somebody contacts you that wants to see this listing, if it doesn't fit them, now you have somebody that you can work with that's a potential buyer lead. Okay, and so now you can find them a house. So that's why people would want to do that. So that's why these people are pre-marketing listings in the BLC. So you also need to know that none of those pre-market listings show up on Zillow. They're not out there on Zillow. Again, whole idea being that the agent does all the marketing for this property. If you stop and think about it, it could be kind of a cool deal to do pre-market listings for the right seller. And it's something you need to have a conversation with your seller. And you probably need to make it for a period of time. And in the future, you'll probably have to have a disclosure form signed by your seller agreeing to let you do that. Or it'll become part of the listing agreement. So
That's what I was gonna ask. So if you do that, if I have a listing right now, they have to agree with it. So is there a document that they have to sign when it's in the
to
listing?
do
Nothing?
pre-market currently, nothing's required.
Nothing.
Nothing. So theoretically, your seller doesn't even have to know that you're doing it because nothing's required.
That's a bad thing.
Now, that's a bad thing. You should always let your seller know what you're doing and why you're doing it, but you just need to know. From a buyer perspective, and from an agent, if you're a buyer's agent, you're working for your buyers now, okay? You need to search for these pre-market listings on a daily basis. So you need to set yourself up a manual search so you can go in and search for these properties daily to see if anything popped up pre-market that they haven't received.
Do we have the option that it says pre-market?
Yes, you can search for pre-market properties. That's how I know there's 20 in Hamilton County. I did a little pre-market search and found 20 properties up here. Some of these on for quite a while. Some are came on in March. So, but right now there's no time limit. However, with the now I think the pre-market listings are a little bit limited on what you can do advertising wise, but with the delayed listing, there won't be any limit. You can advertise any way you want. You can have open houses. Well, you can do open houses on pre-market listings. So even before it's keep in mind it is in the BLC, and all of us have access to it. We just don't have automated access to it.
It's not on Zillow though.
It's not on Zillow.
Right.
Yeah. So I looked a couple of these up on Zillow and they're just showed as off market. So they're not out there on Zillow. They're not on our website feed and etc. So I think best practices here, and we need to do this immediately, is when we have a buyer that we're looking for a home for, we need to set ourselves up a manual search and do that as a routine thing. Every morning, look and see, are there any new pre-market listings that came up? And then you could arrange to go and see those. Now, I think currently, I don't know whether you can go see a pre-market listing or not. I think you can. Now, office exclusive listing, you cannot schedule a showing for. It's not allowed to be shown on an exclusive office listing. But pre-market listings, I think they can be because I see some of these doing open houses. So apparently you can show these, you can market these. It just doesn't go out to everybody. So the pre-market is very similar to the delayed listing type thing. My board may or may not come up with they may decide to keep it the way it is, which is unlimited. You can pre-market a listing as long as you want.
And you said the in-house you cannot show them?
Pardon?
You said the in-house you cannot show them?
I think pre-market listings you can show. Yes, I think so.
But the in-house ones you can't? So how do you put an offer without
The exclusive office listings cannot be shown.
So do you have to put an offer without seeing a property?
Well, you wouldn't know about it though.
You would know about it.
You wouldn't know
Okay.
about an in-house. If somebody's got one listed at Compass exclusively, we wouldn't know about it.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think, Jim, I think there are a lot of rules, obviously, around the pre-market regarding signage and showings and all that. I think maybe we need to, as a group, as a team, just make sure if we're gonna start doing this more often,
Yeah,
that we know.
I'm gonna research all that for you.
Okay,
But I think for the time being, you just need to know that they exist, and you need to know how to find them. And that way you can reach out to that agent to let them know, hey, I have a buyer for this property. It's in the BLC. The way delayed listings will be is delayed listings are considered active listings, which means you can advertise them any way you want. You can schedule showings for them according to the seller desire, so the only difference between a delayed listing and an active listing is it's not going out to the IDX feed. It will be going out to something called a VOW, VOW feed. And I'm not exactly sure what a VOW is. And I've tried researching it on MyBoar's website or MyBoar Central, and I haven't been able to come up with a definition for what a vow is and who gets vows. So I'll give you more information as I find it. So I think it means two things. I think first of all, we need to do this research for our buyers and find off-market properties for them. These are essentially off-market properties in that they're only in the BLC. You're not going to find them out there on the market in Zillow and et cetera. So we have access to these. And so I think that's a selling point when you're working with a buyer. You need to let them know, you know what, we have access to inventory that is not going to be shown on Zillow or Trulia or Redfin or these other services. It's only going to be shown on BLC, and I have access to that, so I can find those properties for you. Okay. It also may be possible that they can search for those properties too. I don't know yet. I've got to do a little research on that. But the main thing is that it does give you an advantage, competitive advantage that you need to let your buyers know about as to why they should be searching with you and not searching on Zillow. Because the most complete information, listing information, is still the BLC. Now, one of the things that could come up though is, some of these big brokerages, and I don't know exactly how this would really benefit a big brokerage, this delayed listing thing, when it shows up in the MLS so that everybody can see it. But what Compass is wanting to do is, Compass is the main driver of office exclusive listings. They only want their listings to show on their website and no one else to have access to it but them and their customers. So what they want to do is control the listings so that they get that business and nobody, they can cut their competition out of the picture. That's what Compass is attempting to do. And so you just need to know that there are other brokerages out there, large brokerages like Howard Hanna, EXP. Now, EXP, interestingly enough, is a big proponent of clear cooperation policy. They think it's good and they are for that. And so they don't want to see Compass succeed. So, and there are other major brokerages that are like that, but there's also them major brokerages like Howard Hanna, which here in Indy is FC Tucker Company, that is kind of moving that direction with some exclusive websites where only listings would show up on their exclusive website. So we just need to be aware of what's going on in the industry, keep our eyes and ears open, and that's one of the things I try to do for you is keep you up to date on what I see going on in the market, and then try to research these things out for you so you don't have to, so you can focus on selling. But I think the major thing is that when you're working with a buyer, you want to let them know that you have access to the most complete information that's available. And that would be the BLC. And you can even find off-market listings that way. So, so that is the NAR update. MIBOR update. Your tech fees were due yesterday. So if you have not yet paid your tech fees, you owe a $25 late fee. And if you don't pay that, eventually you will be cut off and will not have access to the BLC or any of your tools that you pay for, technology tools. So if you haven't already paid it, pay it today. It's already cost you $25. Realty World update. Okay, so I'm going to go to my screen share here so that I can share stuff with you. Okay, now I'm sharing my screen and I'm going to drag this over. Oops. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And you should be seeing the Realty World screen. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, I just want to call you to your attention the classes that are available coming up. Tomorrow we have a class on negotiating mastery that will be at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Gabrielle always does a great job with these classes, and so you might want to tune into that. It's a free class. You just register on the Realty World website for that class. Also, we want to have a company group meeting, lunch and learn type thing this month. And so I'd like to run some dates by those of you that are on Zoom. How would Thursday the 17th work for all of you?
Works for me.
Works for me too.
Anybody that it doesn't work for? Okay, we'll make it Tuesday or Thursday, the 17th of April will be our group meeting. And I'll send out an email on that, but need to make a note. 17. Okay. So we'll continue on then. Any questions that you have in terms of other questions? And this can be on any topic of your choice. Any questions?
When is that effective again? The new version on the BLC, like the changes that you're saying, the NAR. Is it?
Yes, you'll get more information about these changes from My Board Direct when they make those changes. Right now, they haven't made any changes. The pre-market status has been available for quite a while, and so they haven't made changes to the new NAR thing. There's not a new form for people to sign or anything like that. As far as pre-market listing. So when they fully implement this, then they have to implement it by the end of September. So the implementation date is by the end of September. So even though NAR made the decision, they're giving the MLSs plenty of time to be able to implement this, come up with the appropriate forms. So I'm sure my board will work with IAR and they'll come up with a form. If IAR doesn't have the form, then my board will have one and it will show up there when you're looking in zip forms under the BLC forms search, which is where the office exclusive disclosure is located. So, okay, any other questions? Okay, I'm almost out of time, but I want to run through just a quick overview of something that I think is pretty cool. So if you're at your Relium dashboard for Realty World, you can click on Social Bay and it will take you to your Social Bay page. Okay, you may need to log in, but logged in before, it usually keeps you up if you go here on a regular basis. So this is your Social Bay homepage, and it shows you your activity. It shows you your upcoming content. It shows you some helpful videos for using Broker Bay or Social Bay, and gives you live webinars, all kinds of information right here. But the part that I want to talk about is the design studio. This is a new feature, and it's kind of cool because it gives you it's kind of like Canva specific to real estate. And so so if you go over here and you click Design Studio, and then you click on Template Library, you see all kinds of templates here. So you have listing marketing, holidays, market updates, brokerage content, testimonials, quotes, education, agent promotion, engagement, etc. And so I'm going to focus on listing marketing. So if you click on that, what it's going to do is it's going to bring up the templates that you can use to market your listings. So this is very similar to what you have available on Core, on Core. Uh-oh, something's not right. Come on. Well, let's try this again. Okay, I don't know why this isn't, why it's making me log in again. Okay. Sorry about this. I experimented with this earlier and it worked just fine, and now suddenly it's kicking me out, and it could be a problem at Broker Bay. Don't know here because it's not coming up with there. Here we go. Design Studio, Template Library, Listing Marketing. Okay, so now you can see these templates that have been loaded. So there's a whole bunch of templates in here, just listed, open house, etc. And you can use any of these templates. The cool thing about this is that, so let's say I want to use this one here. I can select that one, just sold. Okay. And it's a listing flyer. Now I can change this to just listed. Okay, so you can see that this, and if I go to listing, I can change the listing to my listing. Okay, so let's say I want Seaway Circle here. And I have to come down here and apply it. And now it puts in my photo, my pricing, all the information now has been put into this flyer. And I can change out photos and the whole thing. So if I don't want that photo there, I can just click on this one and it replaces it. And so it's a real easy thing. The other thing I can do that's kind of cool is I can add a QR code to this. Now, why might I want to add a QR code? Well, I might want to add a QR code so that I could get some business from this. And to add a QR code, so for instance, I could put in here, I could put a URL for my website. So okay, add a new QR code. There's my QR code. I can drag it over here wherever I want it. I can put it here like this. Okay, and now if somebody is looking at this and they scan this QR code, is going to take them to my website. But I could take them to the property listing. Any URL will work in here. I could take them to a landing page. And so these QR codes can be very handy to use with this. And then you just save it. And now you've got a new listing flyer. So I can name it up here, something different. Listing flyer Seaway, save it. And now it's saved. And so now if I go back here to my home page, which is where I'm going, I can go to my projects. And I can see any of the projects that I've saved. So you can see that I've got some different projects that I've saved here. Now, one of the cool things you can do too, okay, so you don't have to use templates. You can just do things on your own, design your own type of things. You can just hit the create content button and you can create a listing post, a landing page, create a post from the content library, create a custom post. So let's select that, okay? And I can add images to this. So I can start doing this right here and do a custom type thing all on my own. The other thing I can do is, let me go back to some of these other templates. Let's say I want
Jim, can you use that custom page that you were working on as an email?
for a what?
Can you make it for an email, the custom page you were talking about?
Yeah, you
Okay.
could. You'd have to save it as an image or something of that sort.
Okay.
Okay, so here you have quotes of the day that you could do. Okay, and when you select something, quote of the day, okay, you also have over here an access to a library of photos. So if you click on that, you'll find all kinds of photos, and these are searchable. So maybe you want a photo of keys. Just type in keys, and here's a photo of keys, and you could put that in your thing over here. You could just add it in. Okay, and you can resize it, and you can place it wherever you might want it on the page. You know, And so you've got this searchable library of pictures that you can use. Let's say I want doors. Gives me all kinds of front doors that I can choose. The cool thing about this is, versus Canva, Canva has this too, but Canva, for about half of the photos on Canva, you have to pay for. All of these photos you can use in here. And by being a Social Bay member, you can use these templates. So I'm out of time, so I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to stop my share, and I'm going to stop the recording.